Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I'm your host, Sam. Alongside me, as always, the red-haired wonder, Tarik. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well tonight, Sam. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Of course, we are joined by our frequent collaborator, Brady. How you doing?
Guys, it's glad to be back. It's been a while, but I'm ready to talk some football.
I know you've been on a little hiatus. It's been a little weird not having you.
It's been a multiple bye week situation for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a tonal shift depending on who we have on here.
Indeed, there is.
I bring the fun. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't. Anywho,
you couldn't keep that straight face any longer.
This video is brought to you by Morningwood Crafter. Morningwood Crafter, powered by design, crafted by hand, and into deep. They have another show coming up on Friday. It's a spooky show at Fishhead Cantina in Catesville. Come and check them out. They're really good, folks.
What makes them spooky?
I don't know. It's their Halloween show. That's just what they told me. So it's a spooky. I don't know. Maybe they're dressing scary.
Do they play Someone's Watching Me and
Got enough time to get your request in, so do it now.
Ghostbusters and Addams Family. All
right. So, speaking of scary, some of these teams that we've got this year aren't playing exactly up to their record, or as good as or as bad as their record says. So the question is, whose record is not indicative of what kind of team they are?
It pains me to say this, but the New England Patriots, I watched that entire game last week between the Dallas Cowboys and New England Patriots, and they stuck with that team through the entire game. They're running the ball well. Mac Jones looks like the quarterback of the future there. But they've played some really good teams in some really tough environments, and Dallas just so happened to be able to score score first during overtime, which didn't give them a chance to come back from that. Overtime rules aside, I really think the New England Patriots across the board are way better than their 2-4 record suggests, and I think Mac Jones, I hate to say it, could be the second coming.
Yeah, so the one I'm thinking of is the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm not hopping on my old bandwagon here, but if we take each game, each of their losses, they've only won their 2-4. So, and some of these games are very close and came very down to the wire. So, I mean, you got 1, 2, like 2 or 3 are like right there, one score away. You look at the Ravens game. Like they had that in the bag, and then just Baltimore did a Baltimore thing, just went on 4 different drives, and scored a touchdown on every single one. So it's some of the people that they're playing with is not necessarily how bad they're playing, but just the clutchness. That's a word. It is now clutchness of the other team. Clutchiness. We're gonna go clutchiness. Clutchiness.
Clutchiness. We should trademark it.
Yes. TMTD.
That's right.
What about you, Sam?
Well, I think I'm going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. Instead of bad, I'm going to go good teams I'm going to go teams with a better record than what they actually should be. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. Quite frankly, this is a team that with Jameis Winston there, they were a boom or bust team, and right now they got 3 wins to 2 losses. With Alvin Kamara there, they should be a better team, but with Jameis Winston there, he's a bit more of a drag. His offensive output, if you look at his passing yards, they're pretty small actually in comparison to where they should be, given that his defense has been opportunistic and it's not going to continue. there's a reason why they've got 2 losses. It's because those losses, their defense was unable to get those short fields for the offense. And quite frankly, their offense cannot get down the field to get points. They can't. They haven't sustained a long drive that I've seen all year. So I think that they're going to be going down in the tank real soon.
It's hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
All right. So given those records, let's take a look at our records for this past week. And we have an 11-3 week for Tarik. Look at that. I think he might have been one of two people to pick Tennessee last week. And
Who was that other one, Sam?
who was the other one that picked Tennessee?
Was it you?
No.
No. Oh, the way you said it, I thought it was you.
No, it
Wasn't
wasn't me. I was just saying you picked Tennessee. Our other, nope, the only one. So Tarik picking Tennessee, good pick. I mean, that was an exciting game last night.
Oh yeah.
Got him to 11-3, and pretty impressive week.
I mean, no one saw that game coming last night. I mean, that call when you're 4th and 1 to either tie the game or anything. I mean, it was happenstance that Josh Allen slips, but still,
Yeah.
It's a bold move, Cotton, and it didn't pay out for him.
Absolutely. And that, of course, brings Tarik's record to 59-35 for the year. He is currently 4th, but coming up hot on Jessica and Brady, who come up with the next 2 spots, 10-4, 9-5, tied for 2nd, of course. Brian, 8-6, starting to fade a little at the 56-38 record. And Tom, bringing up the rear at 47-47, 500 record.
He's good at the 50-50.
Yeah, you couldn't put money on it that any of us would ever do that, except for Tom.
No. I think he'd also predict some ties at some point.
Yeah.
I'm
going to tease him about that tomorrow.
You should. All right, so let's get into it. Brady, let's see who your game of the week is.
My game of the week this week is the Denver Broncos at the Cleveland Browns on Thursday Night Football.
Ooh.
And I feel like both of these teams could have been discussed in our opening question, how their records aren't indicative of how they're playing. The Broncos started off hot, winning 3 straight against 3 really bad teams. And Cleveland is Cleveland, and they can't seem to get out of their own way. And when they don't, they go up against a powerhouse team who is just that much better than they are. Cleveland's got a ton of injuries this week. Baker Mayfield's playing with a torn labrum in his shoulder. I've actually experienced that. I know how painful it is to try and operate with an arm with that. So props to him for continuing to play a contact sport while doing that. But with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both being out this week, starting tackle being out, I think the Denver Broncos defense is going to have a field day in this game. But something is telling me that the home field advantage of Cleveland is going to play a massive part in this game. So I am picking the Cleveland Browns, as depleted as they are, to come away with a victory here.
Bit of an upset right there.
All right. So I am picking and hoping that Denver wins this. I'm like they're coming off of like 2 straight losses. They lost, so they're looking to redeem themselves. They're 3 straight.
Yep, they were 3-0.
I thought they lost one of the first ones. Okay, so 3 straight in a row. So they're hoping to turn it around. They're trying to get those pieces together. You got Cleveland, who, as Brady said, getting stuck in their own way. So I'm hoping we got some players back this year from injury and everything. So I'm gonna go with Denver.
Denver Broncos have, they were a bit lackluster last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it might have been the Pittsburgh Steelers defense actually showing signs of life. Their offense, of course, not showing any signs of life in Pittsburgh.
Did they play Las Vegas last week?
The Broncos? Oh yeah, that was the week before, wasn't
it?
Yeah. So, but yeah, either way, they still
look lackluster.
It's still pretty lackluster. Yeah. And against a team that, with so much dysfunction that, you would think they'd be able to capitalize, but they didn't. Of course, the Browns with half of their offense on the injured list right now. Odell, of course, plays 1 week and is out 4 weeks in a row. So, I mean, it's just how he works nowadays. So, since he kind of played last week, he's going to be out for this game, is my prediction. Considering the Browns defense is pretty good, I think this one's going to be a pretty low scoring game. But I have the Broncos going into Cleveland getting that victory.
That's where I gained some ground on Sam.
Maybe.
You got to go against the grain to get those wins. That's because you go with everybody else, you're never gonna jump up.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right, let's move on to Tarik's game of the week.
All right, my pick is the Monday night game, Kansas City versus Tennessee.
That's not the Monday night game.
It's not? I thought it was.
Ooh. Nope.
All right, never mind. Ignore that. It's Kansas City versus Tennessee.
Tennessee was on Monday Night Football last night.
I must have been looking at the wrong week. Ignore me.
Okay.
Pulling a Tarik.
That's not a thing. So I got Kansas City versus Tennessee. So this is potentially another record that is not quite indicative of the team. Kansas City very dominant the last 2 years. We thought that they were going to come in pretty hot this year. Their record is 2-4. They're tied for last place with Denver. And you got Tennessee, who's winning the AFC South. They're figuring it out. Potentially not the greatest division in football right now. So I think this could go either way here. It depends on which version of the Chiefs show up, which version of the Titans show up. Titans got home field advantage, but I think Kansas City just got a couple more pieces to their arsenal here. Going to go against my uncle here, lives in Nashville. He gets very irritated when I go against Tennessee. But I'm going to go with Kansas City on this.
You and your conspiracy theories, man. You got that crazy uncle in some podunk town somewhere. The Tennessee Titans, they're destined to win right now.
They're destined.
NFL is planning it.
He's gonna watch this video and be like, "I'm not from Podunk."
Does he watch our videos?
No, not at all. Not at all.
This is gonna be the one he watches.
I'll let him know, like, "Hey, you're mentioned in the video."
Yeah.
So if it wasn't heard, I got Kansas City.
Okay. I thought that's what you said. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
But
I've got Tennessee in this game. They showed some real gut last night, not to give away our recording schedule, but they showed some real gut last night going up against Buffalo. And basically, it was a 50-50 crowd last night. And of course, Derrick Henry is having a monster season. And Kansas City's defense has not really shown that they can stop a team that knows what they're doing. So I think if Tennessee's play calling can run behind Derrick Henry and they only throw the ball maybe 10, 15 times this week, I think they have a really good shot of drowning a lot of the clock and not giving Patrick Mahomes a lot of time to work with. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Tennessee's ability to run the ball is really going to be indicative of how this game goes. Go Titans.
All right. My uncle will be proud.
Yeah. Kansas City, of course, they got that high-powered offense, but they've been turnover prone, mistake prone, quite a bit this year, which is why they have that. Which is a big reason why they have a 3-3 record. That and the fact that their defense is a wet paper bag. Quite frankly, I think Derrick Henry is still running through the Buffalo Bills line right now. That man is a monster. He's a beast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's on with the extra game. He's on pace to break the single season record. 6 games in, and he has over 750 yards rushing. I think he's on pace to break the record.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What is the record?
The record is 2000.
Yeah, he's on record. He's on pace.
2090 something.
Yeah, I mean, a 1,000-yard season is fantastic. So if he's getting anywhere on pace to that, pass. But
I mean,
he's on pace to beat that in 2 weeks. So
yeah. I mean, if he has a monster game this week, he could flirt with breaking 1,000 this week. I mean, given that defense, he absolutely could. Buffalo was stacking the box against him last night, and he was still running over him. It was pretty bad. But given all that, the Chiefs, it's hard to see the Chiefs losing and going under 500 again. But I got Tennessee this week, knocking them off. So I feel like it's gonna happen.
all right.
Let's move on to the next game. We have the Bengals 4-2 going against those 5-1 Baltimore Ravens.
Who you got, Sam?
Oh man, I was at the Ravens game last week, and the fact that the Ravens defense kept the Chargers from being able to throw the ball deep until late in the game is the reason why they held them to 6 points. It was a very impressive defensive game for them, especially against a high-power offense. Now the Bengals, however, they have a good defense, and they see Lamar twice a year. They've actually improved quite a bit. That offensive line holds up pretty good. So Baltimore trying to get at them is gonna be difficult this week. I think this is gonna be a really close game. I got Baltimore because they're home.
Ding, approved your
Indeed.
prediction.
Ding. Turn that off. But Baltimore for the win.
All right. So I'm not much to say other than what's been said. So this game is always hard for Baltimore, regardless of how well Cincinnati does. They always tend to just sock it to Baltimore. It's always a rough win. It's always a rough play every time I see it. So even if they have a crappy record, which I mean they're winning, they got a winning record right now. But even when they have a crappy record, they manage to stick it. This is a division rivalry. It may not be as big as Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but it's still a division rivalry. So I think it's going to be rough. I think it's going to be back and forth, but I think Baltimore is going to come out with it.
I agree. I think last week was kind of a wake-up call to the defense. Like, hey, no, we can do this with these pieces. I think Cincinnati on paper, it looks a lot like San Diego. So I think, I just pulled a Sam there. Looks a lot like Los Angeles. So I think we're going to try and utilize a lot of the same game plan. So I have the Ravens in this game.
Oh, God, I didn't say San Diego again yet, did I?
No, but I did.
Not today.
I'm just making sure that it hasn't happened yet because they don't play this week. So
yeah, San Diego doesn't play this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or ever.
Ever again.
Oh, man.
Till LA kicks them out and they go back to San Diego.
Or San Diego. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles going into Las Vegas. Two pretty dysfunctional teams at the moment. What do you got, Brady?
I've got the Vegas Raiders in this one. More so because of the lack of what the Eagles have shown that they can do this year. They just traded away one of their best weapons in Zach Ertz. They only run the ball around 10 times a game when they have someone who is all pro caliber at the running back in Miles Sanders. I just don't see a way where Philly can win this game when Derek Carr is still the quarterback of the Vegas Raiders.
All right. So, I have Vegas in this one, and Vegas Raiders still hits my ear wrong because I'm so used to Oakland. But yeah, I got Vegas in this one. Eagles have just not. I mean, I don't see they put up a fight, but they're not closing the deal on any of these games. So I'm going Vegas.
I mean, why not go with the Los Angeles Raiders or the Oakland Raiders before that? The original Oakland Raider.
The Houston Oilers.
True. Philly. I feel like Jalen Hurts is one of those. It's they run the offense a little too much through him, and I think Miles Sanders should get the ball more often. Given that they just traded away Zach Ertz, one of their passing options has disappeared. I think that they're going to run the ball a little bit more this week. And I think that the high that the Las Vegas Raiders are on at the moment, that going, firing their coach and then being able to get that victory against Denver last week is actually going to work against them this week. I have the Philly Eagles getting a victory here in an upset, and God, that makes me sick.
I felt bad, and I'm not even a Cowboys fan.
No, wow.
Yeah,
I can
felt around the room.
Feel the coming off of you.
But I think it is going to be a very interesting game. All right, let's move on to the last game we have on the docket. We have the Chicago Bears, 3-3, going against those 5-1 Tampa Bay Tom Brady's. And in this one,
my first on this one. I'm missing the count. So I'm going to go with the Tom Brady and the Tom Brady's. Because he's the Tom Brady on the Tom Brady's. I predict that Florida will rename Tampa Bay to Tom Brady, and he will be the Tom Brady's. And as much as that makes me sick, as I despise that man and everything that he has done, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Seconded.
3-3.
And hopefully I did not say that too many times that he appears behind me.
Tom Brady.
What a wonderful, elegant Hall of Fame speech right there.
Thank you.
You'll be able to make it in 20 years when he finally retires.
He's still going to be playing. He's going to be a corpse.
He's going to be coaching and playing quarterback. It's going to be weird.
He's going to be the next gen Jerry Jones. He's going to try and do all of it.
Yeah.
So who you got, Sam?
Oh, man. This one is it's going to be such a riveting game. I mean, you have on one hand the phenom that is Justin Fields going against this old guy named Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady.
All right.
Tom Brady. Yeah, it was hard to pick teams this week because there's not a lot of winning teams playing winning teams this week.
Right.
Or 500 teams playing 500 or winning teams.
Yeah, that was the problem I had picking a game. Is I'm like, none of these actually, like, on paper look necessarily exciting unless you look further into it.
It's a little weird. A lot of the winning teams there's a lot of winning teams on bye this week. It's a little awkward. So let's move on to those quick hitters. We're gonna start with the Washington football team going against the Green Bay Packers.
Aaron Rodgers is having a fantastic season. Washington football team is not. Green Bay.
Up on that horse, Brady. Up on that horse.
I'm riding it, man.
I own this effing city.
Yeah.
I'm not picking Washington. Green Bay.
I mean, I don't even want to say their name. Green Bay. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the Atlanta Falcons going against the 1-5 Miami Dolphins, fresh off that loss in London. But I think they get the victory this week. Tua back second week. He's got it.
I'm going with Atlanta. I can't bring myself to pick Miami.
I've got Miami as well. I think that defense is going to have fun with Matt Ryan.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the New York Jets going against those New England Patriots. Do the Jets get a second win?
No.
No.
And no. New England, clean sweep. Let's move on to the next game. We have the 3-3 Carolina Panthers going in the wrong direction, of course, going against those 1-5 New York Giants, missing half of their offense.
Who you got, Sam?
I have to call. But in place of that, I got Carolina.
New York Giants have too many injuries and too many key spots. Carolina.
And Carolina.
Clean sweep. All right. Next is the 0-6 Lions against those 5-1 Rams. Who you got?
This game is going to be ugly and quick. LA.
Sorry, Detroit. LA.
I think Detroit makes it a game for at least 3 quarters. And then the Rams pull away. Sorry, Detroit.
Yep.
All right, let's go on to the 1-5. Jeez, this is you go from one bad game to the next. At 0-6 going against a 1-5 to a 1-5 going against a 6-0. What do you guys got?
Arizona.
Arizona, but this is going to be a better game than Detroit puts on.
Surprisingly, the Houston Texans have not looked horrible. Their quarterback has actually looked okay. But as long as Kyler Murray doesn't break his leg, I think the Cardinals win this one. So
I still say even if he breaks his leg, the Cardinals will win this one.
they very well could. At least gives them a fighting chance.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the Sunday night game, the Colts going against the San Francisco 49ers.
It's going to be an interesting game, but I think San Francisco's defense is just that much better than the Colts offense. So I've got San Fran in this game.
I'm going with the opposite way here. I'm going to go with Indy. They're struggling, but they're showing promise throughout the game. I think they're just going to manage to squeak this one out. It's going to be a very close game.
I'm not gonna lie, this one along with the Broncos game were almost coin flips for me, but I have San Francisco off the bye week getting the victory. All right, let's move on to that last game, the Monday night game. This one's going to be a barn burner. Backup quarterbacks. Nope, sorry, Jameis Winston.
You pulled a Brady.
Technically, sure. Let's make me have wrong stats, but fine.
Who you got, Brady?
This was my coin flip of the week. I mean, Seattle didn't look too bad against Pittsburgh, but they just accrued more injuries in that game. So I've got the Saints in this one.
I've got the Saints as well.
Wait, Seattle played who last week? The Steelers, and they lost 20-3 with Geno at quarterback.
23-20.
How could that happen? I have the Saints this week. All right, folks, that's it for our picks this week. There's a couple a little shorter because there's less teams playing this week.
And we're all tired.
Yeah.
A little bit. Partially my fault.
It's all your fault.
It is.
Blame the parents. It's fine.
I'm such a bad boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to do that.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you click that like button, comment, tell us how we did, tell us who you pick, subscribe so you know when we're coming out with new videos. As always, I'm Tarik.
Brady.
I'm Sam.
Thought everybody froze for a second.
Have a great football week.
Bye, guys.